Yeah, you tuned into the right place. Welcome to the rain. Golden Queuing. H2.0. Yeah. You're looking for a diamond, found a treasure in the rough. Tired of all the noise, cause you finally had enough. I'm here to build a movement on a mission for the nation. Dropping gems of knowledge, killing all the hesitation. We fighting for the truth, yeah, we fighting for what's right. Building unity and shining up a brand new light. It's a variety channel, but the vision's crystal clear. Pushing us all forward, conquering the doubt and fear. Welcome to the Queendom, H2.0 on your screen, where the content's real and smart and funny in between. This is more than just a stream, it's a platform for the change. Time to elevate the game and rearrange. If you're ready for a vibe that you can feel and trust, joining in the movement is a definite must. This ain't just another channel talking smack behind the screen. It's a spotlight for the creators, building up a better scene. Spreading radical love, that's the message in the code. Helping everybody carry up a heavy load. From social justice issues to the laughter that we need. Planting seeds of progress, watch them grow from just a seed. This is authentic, this is raw, this is everything you saw. Welcome to the battle that is truly being fought. Ooh, so come with your respect and see the real effect. Cause I protect my own right here on the throne. Don't make me envy. Unleash the dragon. Subscribe, ring that notification bell. Yeah, you don't wanna miss a thing. Welcome to the family. Yeah. Yeah. They try to bury the truth on the paper stacks. What they make still bleeds. And the sweets talk back. Turn the volume up. This ain't entertainment. This is evidence. Yeah. This is evidence. 3 million pages that ain't rumor, that's weight. Names in the margin, money still in the fake. Silicone smile, sanitized, private planes, same island, same silence, different last names. Files so thick they can't shred them all. Every no comment, just a crack in the wall. They say conspiracy, now it's case numbers. Truth don't age, just waits longer. Gold gates, dark flights, offshore sins. Everybody clean to the paperwork instant. They thought time would erase the stain, but justice patient and the files remain. Receipts on the table, yeah, the lies on trial. Can't outrun truth, only stall it a while. They tried to mute us, tried to draw red lines, but the people woke up, this is headline time. Receipts on the table, yeah, the system shake. Every locked door tremble when a real one speak. No feeling of fame, no script to design. We don't want the truth, we take our lead. Put cuffs on a voice for covering pain. Camera rolling still, they screaming restrain. Anti-ICE protest, truth in the frame. Better all fear when the message don't tame. Such as doing your job to the job hit nerve. Ask court dates for what we observe. Pushing them in deep, but erasing the street. When the badge get nervous every time we speak. First say there won't be silence, that's not a quote. That's a warning flare in a sinking boat. Free press ain't free when the cost is jail, but the mic stay lit even when they fail. Keeps on the table, yeah, the lies on trial. Can't outrun truth, only stall it a while. They try to mute us, try to draw red lines, but the people woke up, this is headline time. The risk keeps on the table, yeah, the system shake. Every locked door tremble when a real one speak. No feel good faith, no feel good change. They take right now. They take God tweeting while the truth gets thinned. Every nigga email it, emails cleanse. While it's parties, yeah, the timestamp loud. Tell it Claire, still talking right now. That's a G, pour the caps and now I'm on repeat. But the inbox don't lie when the mouth say beat. You can launch a royalty, buy the whole square. Still can't outrun questions floating in the air. This ain't cancel culture, this accountability. Same rules for the rich, that's stability. You can't in a bet your way out the best when the receipts got screenshots built to last. MAGA cracking like ice underweight when loyalty bends and ambition debates. Caught a miscalculation, now watch the divide. Moments see themselves when truth on the line. That lies to the cover blown wide. Now it's knives in the back, cameras on live. You don't lose power overnight, you lose it when the base see daylight. This ain't left for right, it's exposed when the hero myths finally decompose. Politics ain't fake, it's a transaction, and a bill comes due with public reaction. Small page of prodigy, trump street ink. 20 years of damage make a mind rethink. Ain't no excuse harm, but it explains scars and broken men still human behind the bars. Fake, now healing, cross chair collapse, call it change healing. Accountability, gotta walk with grace, or we just feed cycles we claim we hate. Say what you need, but hear this glint. The wounds don't vanish, the spotlight's lit. Only truth and care in a setting break, or we just run and spell leaving behind the bird. Seats on the table, history watching now. Every lie told shaky, wanna be with fair pride. No savers, no kings, no smoke, no shrine, just truth in the open under real time light. Receipts on the table, let it echo wide from the streets, ace trains, they can't hide. No cousins, it's real down alive, it's just trending news. They call it chaos when the truth arrives, but order built on lies was never a lie. So keep the vibes on, and keep the cameras rolling, and never apologize for asking questions.
Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl Golden. I am back, y'all. We got another live to get into, a few more topics for today. Y'all know it's politics as usual, child. But I hope y'all are all having a great day in whatever respectful time zone you are in. It is 12:24 p.m. here in the afternoon Eastern time in the Carolinas. And it's very sunny outside and very pretty, but it is also very cold. You know, we got some of that winter storm that I think we're getting some residuals of here as well. That is up north, like in the New York City and the New Jersey area. So yeah, it's pretty nippy outside. But I hope you guys are having a wonderful day in whatever respectful time zone you are in, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And thank you all so much for coming and joining me on this live and rocking with me for a few hours. So y'all, let's go ahead and talk about what we'll be discussing on today's live. So in this broadcast, we are going to be covering a series of high-stakes breaking stories shifting the national landscape. We have to talk about the heartbreaking update in the search of Savannah Guthrie's mother, to a massive political revolt as the State of the Union boycott is gaining steam. We also dive into exclusive whistleblower testimony regarding unconstitutional ICE trainings. And we have Representative Pramila Jayapal, I hope I'm saying that right, chilling report coming directly from detention centers. We also will be talking about the legal battle over Don Lemon and how his personal information and data and cell phone has been seized. And we also going to get into a little comical content at the end, where we take a look at some of these Black MAGAs that decided to visit the White House for a Black History Month celebration. And I guess it didn't go as planned. So we got all of that we'll be talking about on today's live. But first and foremost, let's get into Savannah Guthrie. Okay, so today's show anchor, Savannah Guthrie, released an emotional video 24 days after her 84-year-old mother, Nancy, was abducted from her Arizona home. For the first time, Savannah seems to be acknowledging the grim reality that her mother may be lost or gone home to the Lord. The family is offering $1 million reward for any information leading to her recovery, while Savannah has now also donated $500,000 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to support other families that are going through this similar pain. So that'll be the first thing we get into, y'all. I will say trigger warning because, she's very distraught and emotional, but I do have the video here of her. I want y'all to hear her words directly from her mouth. And this is what she has been speaking on as of lately. And it's just disgusting and sad that this has been now 24 days. 24 days that her elderly mother has been missing. And, we have seen through some of the lives and stuff that I've done, we have TMZ, speaking out a lot, saying that they are the main source that gets contact first, and they're getting some information, not all of the information, and they're passing it along responsibly the way that they should to the FBI and authorities. So yeah, this story is really gut-wrenching because we all have a mama, right? And you sometimes just sit there and you just imagine if you put yourself in someone else's shoes, how would you be feeling or what would you be going through if this was happening to you and your mom? And I know I would be a mess. And so let's hear a little bit from Savannah and these updates of what is going on this case. And I will meet y'all in the chat.
All right, to some breaking news this hour in the search for Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy. Savannah just releasing a new video on Instagram, urgently pleading for her mother's return. Let's watch.
Hi there. I'm coming on to say it is day 24 since our mom was taken in the dark of night from her bed. And every hour and minute and second and every long night has been agony since then, of worrying about her and fearing for her and aching for her. And most of all, just missing her, just missing her. We know that millions of you have been praying. So many people have been praying of every faith and no faith at all, praying for her return. And we feel those prayers. Please keep praying without ceasing. We still believe. We still believe in a miracle. We still believe that she can come home. Hope against hope. As my sister says, we are blowing on the embers of hope. We also know that she may be lost. She may already be gone. She may have already gone home to the Lord that she loves and is dancing in heaven with her mom and her dad and with her beloved brother Pierce and with our daddy. And if this is what is to be, then we will accept it. But we need to know where she is. We need her to come home. For that reason, we are offering a family reward of up to $1 million for any information that leads us to her recovery. All of the information about this reward and the details is in the caption below. You can call the 1-800-TIP line. You can be anonymous if you want. Someone out there knows something that can bring her home. Somebody knows. And we are begging you to please come forward now. We also know that we are not alone in our loss. We know there are millions of families that have suffered with this kind of uncertainty. And for that reason today, we also are donating $500,000 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children for their work in helping families who are coping with loss and actively looking for those who are lost. We are hoping that the attention that has been given to our mom and our family will extend to all the families like ours who are in need and need prayers and need support. So please, if you hear this message, if you've been waiting and you haven't been sure, let this be your sign to please come forward, tell what you know, and help us bring our beloved mom home so that we can either celebrate a glorious, miraculous homecoming or celebrate the beautiful, brave, and courageous and noble life that she has lived. Please be the light in the dark.
Wow. All right. Anna Schechter is joining us now to talk more about this, who heads our crime and public safety unit. So let me just first get your reaction, Anna, to this video by Savannah. Heartbreaking video.
It's heartbreaking, I would say, is the word. This is desperation. They really don't have information. They have no idea where their loved ones is. And we see this with families. It's that need for closure to know where their loved one is, even if that person has passed away. This is the first time the Guthrie family has acknowledged that their mother might have passed away. And she's saying it doesn't matter. If you have any information, we, the family, are offering a reward of up to $1 million. Now, the FBI Phoenix field office just posted about the family's offer of the reward to get that message out widely. The Guthrie family wants this broadcast on all the airwaves because the more people they reach, they are thinking the higher the likelihood that someone might see this, hear about the reward, and decide to come forward.
I just wonder, when you think about the investigation itself and how many weeks have now gone by, what went wrong here, or why haven't we gotten anywhere?
This is a great question. So we're on day 24, and we know that evidence was collected from Nancy Guthrie's home on February 1st. So that DNA was sent to a lab. It takes about 48 hours to get to the lab in Florida. So the analysis has been going on for 3 weeks. They have hit some kind of a hiccup. Either it was just partial DNA that was identified as not belonging to either Nancy Guthrie, anyone in the family, or anyone who worked there. We know that, but we haven't gotten an ID pinned to that DNA. My suspicion is that it's partial DNA. Then what law enforcement has to go is go to these private genealogy companies to try to have some kind of a match. You could figure out a distant cousin, and you make a family tree and then narrow down who could have committed this crime, who would be the right age, a male, right, that we saw in that doorbell camera video. So there are these two leads. The DNA, which so far has not been definitive, right? And then we have this video, which is also not definitive. You can't see the person's face, gloves, masks. Clearly that person knew how to protect himself from discovery in terms of not showing his face on that camera and potentially not leaving fingerprints or a lot of DNA in the home.
So putting aside the fact that this is Savannah Guthrie, somebody who is loved by millions of fans around this country, and including us, who love Savannah dearly, it's got to be incredibly frightening for residents in that community that we may be facing potentially a random act of violence in a community. And that is incredibly rare. I mean, the idea that somebody can just walk off the street and kidnap somebody and disappear without a trace, without leaving anything behind, that confounds the local police, but also the Federal Bureau of Investigation, is incredibly frightening.
In 2026,
in 2026, when we are constantly,
to protect us.
There are so many news reports out about how we're being looked at by everybody, everywhere. There's cameras everywhere. Not really, because here's somebody who just came into this woman's home and disappeared with her, literally disappeared into thin air.
It's so true. And the data shows this type of kidnapping of an adult who's not a relative. I mean, this is incredibly
Rare.
It
Never
almost
heard of
never
this.
happens in the United States. Incredibly rare. And what the police have been doing in recent years is they lean on that surveillance camera. They lean on those automated license plate readers, and they do help solve these crimes. But I'm just going to remind everybody, in the Koberger case, it took about 6 weeks for...
What was the break in that case, Hannah?
So there was DNA, and Heritage, a genealogy company, helped law enforcement create that family tree.
But that's happening here too, right?
That is underway, but it's painstaking work. And we are on day 24. So we're into week 3. Okay. So we could get a break in the case any day. And like once we hit 6 weeks, then, you know, we're in Koberger territory.
Koberger, right. Remind me again. So I recall, because I was anchoring with Anne-Marie Green when the story broke, and she had done some reporting on these genealogy companies. Many of us, including myself, have given our DNA to these genealogy companies, right? So they were able to paint if there's a relative even that is given.
That's right, because the full DNA profile didn't point to a person who was already in the FBI system having committed a previous crime. That makes it easy, right? When you don't have that, then you've got to go to the genealogy companies. Now, it's not, you know, a total like one and done, we're going to solve this crime, because guess what? 23andMe, the one where most people have submitted their DNA, they actually do not work with law enforcement because of privacy concerns. Right. Heritage generally hadn't, but they made an exception here and they helped law enforcement.
Did Koberger submit his DNA, or what was?
No, it was a relative. And then, yes, they were sort of like looking, they had DNA, he had submitted it somewhere. And so they were able to pin that down. And what else really helped with the prosecution in that case was the cell phone pings. So basically what the FBI did is they pulled out every cell phone that had pinged to the nearest tower, and they siphoned out anyone who was not a resident there, who didn't work there. And so they had a pool of people that were there. And that wound up being really important to the case as well. So the FBI already has done that work. But think about it, like it's a cell phone tower, maybe, you know, a mile away. You have people driving around. It's a huge number of people. It will ultimately likely prove helpful in this case once they narrow down a suspect.
Right. And I think that's part of the reason why it's been hard to get information from the public that could actually be helpful in the investigation. When I think about how we spoke for days about Luigi Mangione and the manhunt that was underway, there was at least some information.
Well, there was the photo with the eyebrows, the distinctive eyebrows. Now, the first photo was from that hostel, and you could barely see his face, facial recognition that the NYPD has the highest technology available, and it didn't work, which was astounding to all of us who cover crime and public safety. But then there was the cab photo that they were going through every taxi cab in New York City, and they got that photo, and they figured out from the timeline that must be him. Those eyebrows, and if you remember, the people in McDonald's, they recognized his eyebrows. And he even knew about it. In his notes to himself that were recovered from the backpack, he has a suggestion, pluck eyebrows, because he'd been watching the news. He was aware of the coverage.
Right. And let me ask you now, just so we sort of talked about this from a wider police investigation perspective, but now let's bring it back to Savannah and this brutally heartbreaking admission that the family recognizes that Nancy, their mom, the grandmother to Savannah's children, may be gone. Talk to me about why the FBI would suggest that they include that detail in a plea to whoever took Nancy.
Right. This is a great question, because the Guthrie family is absolutely working closely with the FBI. At this point, since their plea for information had not worked in the past, this is now, I think, her 4th video where she is speaking directly to the public. So the lack of acknowledgement that she might have passed, they're thinking, well, maybe someone's thinking, wait, I'm here and she's passed away. If I come forward, what's going to happen to me? But now they're saying, they're acknowledging it, and she's saying it's not too late. In her last video, she was speaking directly to a captor, whoever had Nancy Guthrie, saying it's never too late to do the next right thing. Now she's going beyond that, and she's saying any information that leads to her discovery, we're offering up to $1 million.
So this isn't a plea to the captor necessarily, because the captor would know that
Anyone that
anybody.
might have information, who might have been scared to come forward. What if it implicates me?
All right, y'all. So this is a sad story. I can't imagine going through anything like this. You know, I don't think any of us could. And I am sending thoughts and prayers and love to the family while they are dealing with this situation, this unfortunate circumstance. I just feel something about this story just doesn't sit right with me. And I don't know if any of y'all agree. And I'm trying to say this in the most respectful way as possible, because I will ask God for forgiveness if I'm absolutely off when it comes to this. And this, you know, the severity of this story and the facts of this story are dead on and true as far as what they have given us so far. But in my gut, in my spirit, something just seems a little bit off about this. And I'm not pointing any fingers or blames or anything on anyone. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying it's something a little fishy and a little weird. So now we're offering $1 million, right? But when she first was taken for ransom, there was an amount of money that was asked for, so they would bring her back. And I guess you didn't want to offer that money at the time, or you didn't want to offer that amount. I cannot be sure what these people discussed and what the conversation was. If you got it, spend it, especially if it's for someone like your mother, right? We're not talking about red bottoms here or lace front wigs or anything like that. Like, we're talking about a family member. So if you got these stacks to throw in the bank, I'm running down to the bank quick as possible. Like, all right, when are we doing this? I don't care how much it is if I got it. You know, it's one thing if you don't got it, but if you got it, give it up and get mama back. So the story started out that she was taken, and there were stories and reports and contact made to TMZ that there was a ransom. And then they said that that person was just a scammer. They were just trying to insert themselves to get the money. That wasn't the real person who took her. And a lot of people these days, in my personal opinion, are in love with money. And $1 million is a lot. So we'll see over the next few days what transpires. Because if $1 million is on the table, I think somebody's going to talk, or somebody is going to try and return mama home. Because I think they can use that $1 million unless they feel as though you got way more than that and they want more of that from you. The question is, how much of it are you going to put up? You know what I mean? I don't know. These things could be very difficult to talk about and break down and decipher, because you never want to be in a place where you're doubting or questioning the severity of the situation. But you also can be an individual that just uses your common sense and puts context clues and things together. And it makes you wonder, not to say we fully deny, but we're just wondering. We feel like there could be some pieces here that are missing and some information that is not being given. And it all is coming off a little suspect. Now, I know that there's human trafficking. I know people are being snatched. We don't hear a lot of stories about elderly parents being snatched in the middle of the night like this very often. Now, could it be because they don't get the proper news reporting that they need to get? Yeah, probably so. But this just seems a little off to me. Like, I don't know what y'all think. It's just something about it is not right. And then these individuals keep contacting TMZ. TMZ is in the mix and in the middle of it as like the relayer of said information to the FBI. Like, I'm not really fully understanding what's happening or why. But I know there's always a reason why. It could be because people are nasty pieces of work and they want to do harm and hurt people. Or it could be something else. You know, we can't be sure. And I'm not speaking against any of this. I'm sending my thoughts and my love and my prayers to this family in their trying time right now, because all we know right now is that this is real. Their mother is gone. She's an elderly, sickly woman. She has health conditions. I believe they said she has a heart condition. She needs her medication. And I can never imagine going through something like that, you know? So I do have a level of empathy and understanding, like, for the severity of the situation. It's just something about this case that just does not sit well with me. And that's just my thoughts, my inner thoughts. It's baffling. I agree. People keep doing messed up stuff to kids. It's pissing me off. Could this be a hoax? Polo, if it is, it's messed up. Especially 85 years old lady that takes pain medication every day. I mean, I don't know what's going on. We're praying. I'm praying that the woman is alive. I'm praying that she comes back home to her family and that she'll continue to be well and live out the rest of her years, you know? But I don't know. But anyway, we're moving on. Let's listen to the rest of this report and then we're going on with our next topic.
Right. She's saying, don't worry about that. Any information, there's a reward.
Okay, Anna Schechter, thank you. Let's now go to CBS News correspondent Jonathan Bigliotti. He's outside the home in Tucson, Arizona. You've been there for weeks now, Jonathan. Talk about your reaction to this video.
I mean, when you listen to that video posted moments ago, it's heartbreaking. I think over the past 24 days now, we've gotten a sense from Savannah Guthrie just how much she and her family have been guided by faith as they search for Nancy Guthrie. You get the sense with this video, and really for the first time in these past 24 days, that she and her family are losing faith that Nancy Guthrie is alive, saying that they are coming to terms with the fact that she may be lost, indicating really for the first time in this ongoing search, now in week 4, that it may no longer be a search, but instead transitioning to a recovery mission. You heard Savannah offering up that $1 million reward to anyone with information that could lead them to Nancy Guthrie. As all of that is happening, of course, there is this parallel search unfolding for the suspect or suspects involved in the abduction. I can give you an update now because yesterday I spoke with several sources close to this investigation. It all really comes down to one critical piece of evidence. That's the DNA that was recovered from inside Nancy Guthrie's home. I am told by several sources that DNA is low level. It has been tested and analyzed now for more than 3 weeks. It has still not yielded a profile, and those sources telling me it may never yield a profile. This again, as the search continues for the suspects. And now again, hearing that very heartbreaking, gut-wrenching testimonial, that video, that desperation that was in Savannah Guthrie's voice, believing perhaps that her mother is no longer alive, offering up that $1 million reward for anyone that could lead this family to their mother. Just truly unbelievable. And again, the first time, that's really what strikes me, the first time in 24 days, this sense of hope lost. A very difficult day right now for the Guthrie family, as you can imagine.
Incredibly difficult, Jonathan. And I wonder, as you have been covering the story pretty much since day one, have you caught a glimpse of Savannah or her family? I know that there's been some activity in the home, but I just wonder if there's been any eyes on her whatsoever, or if they've just been inside the entire time while they await for any information about their beloved mother.
They have been very private. The only time we have seen Savannah or her family are in those videos that have been posted. When she first arrived here more than 3 weeks ago, she was originally staying with her sister Annie. I believe they then moved to another location as this search intensified. They have not been seen publicly. I believe it was last week that Savannah Guthrie's husband came here to Tucson to join her. This, though, marking a dramatic turn of events as the search continues for the suspect and the suspect. And again, you listen to that video and we talk about faith here. This family has been guided by faith. And it is really striking to me to hear Savannah Guthrie speak in those terms. She hopes her mother is alive, but as she breaks down in that video, starting to cry, realizing in real time for the whole world to see that she believes that maybe the worst case scenario here is unfolding before her eyes, guys.
Incredibly distressing. And of course, as always, we are sending Savannah and her entire family, and I know you as well, Jonathan, our love and our prayers. Jonathan, thank you.
All right, y'all. So before we go ahead and get into our next video, and we'll be talking about now, the State of the Union boycott has begun. And we also have Ben Masilis, who will be tapping in to talk a little bit about that, because he also has created his own State of the Union that actually a lot of people will be attending. I think the last time he spoke, it was like 19 senators. He said that we're going to be coming to his State of the Union that they have created. And we'll get into that. There is some conversations around boycotting against the regular State of the Union that Donald Trump will be holding. So we'll get into all of that in just a minute after this song break. And I'll be right back, y'all. I just got to go to the restroom.
Check the bag, check the tag, check the greed. ICE agents hunting humans just to get the fee they need. They don't care about the name, they don't care about the face. Just a bounty on the soul, trying to scrub them from the plate. Getting paid by the head, yeah, they stacking up the bread. While the families in the shadows, living life in constant dread. It's a business, it's a racket, it's a cold-blooded game. Let's snatch a father from his daughter just to justify the name. ICE is moving through the night. For the love of money, they're trading souls for federal life. For the love of money, they're apprehend anyone for pay. Doesn't matter who you are, they're gonna take you away for that lean, green. The system's got more than need. I need the racks, but not like that. No, I need the plat, but keep the facts straight. YouTube views got them acting real strange, selling out the culture for some digital change. Click the struggle, monetize the pain, while the agents in the street are washing blood with the rain. They're getting paid to hunt, I'm getting paid to speak. The government is green and the schools are so weak. Check the analytics, check the borderline. The greed in the district's gonna drive us out our mind. Apprehending for a bonus, that's a soul-crushing crime. Let you have it, I'd rather have the truth. Stop trading our future and the spirits of our youth. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Don't let the algorithm change you. Money, 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 money. The head full, tall, and standing tall for the people.
All right, y'all. So I am back. So let's go ahead and get into this next video from none other than Ben Masilis from the Midas Touch Network. And so he'll be explaining a little bit about what all is going on with this State of the Union boycott and how many people are actually showing support and going to be showing up for his State of the Union that he's going to be having. So let's go ahead and listen to a little bit of that, and I'll be right back.
And Masilis from the Midas Touch Network, and we are live here on the day where we will all be watching the People's State of the Union here on the Midas Touch Network, and where we will all be boycotting the State of the Union. We say no to wannabe kings. We say no to fascism. We say no to tyrants. We say no to authoritarianism. We say no to masked agents and ICE Gestapo terrorizing, torturing, and killing people here in the United States. We say no to the cover-up by the Trump regime of the child sex trafficking ring led by Jeffrey Epstein and co-conspirators who were and his despicable regime. Let's be very clear with our words. The cabal is at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and they are protecting the Epstein class. So throughout today, we will be having coverage, not of the State of the Union, which we are all boycotting here, but we will be having coverage of the People's State of the Union, the event that is being hosted by the Midas Touch Network, as well as Move On. You'll be able to watch that here on the Midas Touch Network, and you'll see in our live feed, when you look at it today, the link in order for you to watch the People's State of the Union. We have dozens and dozens of members of Congress. We have House of Representative members and senators who will all be speaking at the People's State of the Union. Many of them will be bringing guests as well, whose lives have been impacted by the Trump regime. One of the individuals who will be at the People's State of the Union is Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, and she will also be delivering her own speech this morning, which I will be playing in a few minutes. Just a quick reminder about Congresswoman McIver. She's at the forefront of the fight for our democracy, and she stepped up to protect people from ICE. And now Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and their cabinet of cronies and Epstein class members and protectors are doing everything they can to try to throw the Congresswoman in prison for 17 years. She's facing felony charges just for doing her job. And in the face of Donald Trump's efforts to intimidate her, silence her, and shut down all dissent in this country, Congresswoman McIver is not folding. She is doubling down to protect her community, to hold Trump officials' feet to the fire, and to protect our democracy, which is what actually makes our nation what it is. As a newer member to Congress, she has immediately taken a spot as one of our nation's loudest voices for accountability against Donald Trump's fascism and his cruelty. She is the first member of Congress to be charged by this despicable regime just for doing her job, and she's bravely stepping up to make sure Donald Trump can't get away with this. So today, she joins us from Washington, D.C., where she's addressing the state of our union and our democracy on behalf of democracy defenders and in partnership with Midas Touch. Here she is with Democracy Defenders Action. And take it away, Congresswoman McIver.
I am LaMonica McIver. You may not know my name, but you may have heard my story. I am the Congresswoman that Donald Trump is trying to put in prison for 17 years. Trump's Department of Justice is going after me, trying to silence me, and scare other people out of standing for what's right. All because I was doing my job. I am proud to represent my hometown in Congress. The people who raised me, trusted me to be their voice, and sent me to Washington to represent them. They all call New Jersey home. Last year, as Donald Trump took office, I saw those same people living in fear. Raids, masked agents, kids being pulled out of school, loved ones taken away without a trace. So I did what I am supposed to do as a member of Congress. I went to inspect a detention center in my district because we heard reports of how bad it was. I went to get answers. This administration charged me with 2 felonies. imprisoning elected officials of the opposing party, using the full force of the law and the taxpayer dollar to shut down dissent. This is not what happens in America. And it is not what happens in a democracy. That is why I am here today, joining with Democracy Defenders Action to address the state of our union and the state of our democracy. There is so much happening in our country. My colleagues and many others will talk about that tonight and in the coming days. But this moment demands that we directly address the state of our democracy. What has happened over the last year, where we are headed, and what must change if we are going to preserve the country we all love. Trump never believed the law applied to him, but now he's surrounded himself with people who believe it too. He stacked the courts, sent troops into American cities, and is using the government as a tool for retribution. This moment in time feels as close to the brink as we have ever been. Tonight, we can expect Donald Trump to do what he always does: lie. He will tell us not to believe our own eyes. He will tell us we've never been safer, even as he sends mass agents to murder Americans and terrorize families. He's going to tell you life is getting more affordable, even as his policies make things more expensive. He is going to tell you that he is popular. He's made a lot of promises, but the only thing he's done is make life worse. He doesn't work for you because he doesn't care about you. And that is a democracy problem. Everything Donald Trump does, he does to help himself, his family, and his billionaire buddies. Economic chaos, global instability, the elimination of our rights at home, and constant fear allow powerful people to get more power and more money. Everyone else pays the price. As daily costs go up, everyday people don't have a corporate cushion to help them out. As we worry about our loved ones' safety, we focus less on who is responsible. But in boardrooms and backrooms across the country, Trump and his richest friends can sit above the chaos and rewrite the rules to help themselves even more. This is power and money that they will do anything to keep. While Americans are forced to focus on survival, it becomes easier for those at the top to tighten their grip on everything else and get rich while doing it. There are people who can change this, people who were elected to do so. And tonight, at least on the Republican side, many of those people will stand up and clap. The president will say things that will make your stomach turn, and these Republicans will cheer. But it's no surprise. They're doing what they've always done, giving up on all the power voters trusted them with and handing it directly to Trump. Congress has the responsibility to check the president, and these people refuse to do it. The Constitution gives members of Congress the responsibility to oversee the executive branch and protect everyone in this country from abuses of power. But we have seen repeatedly that the Trump administration and Republicans will lie, cheat, and steal to avoid their actions being seen for what they are. Look at ICE and DHS. Last year was the deadliest in decades for ICE, but they saw my oversight and called me a criminal. They used a little boy as bait and locked him up. They killed a mother and called her a domestic terrorist. They murdered a nurse and called him an assassin. They want to get away with all of it. They will turn the story around on any and all of us. They are testing our humanity, and they are testing the strength of our democracy, pushing, bending, and even breaking the guardrails that hold it together. The administration weaponizing the Department of Justice against me is just one example. They are doing something that hasn't happened in our country since the 1700s, trying to put someone who the people elected in jail for using my voice to question his. No experienced prosecutor would have brought this case. That's why Trump appointed Alina Habba. No normal DOJ would keep pursuing it. That's why Trump chose Pam Bondi. No just DHS would have stood so firmly behind their wrongdoing. That's why Kristi Noem is at the helm. To them, the government is a tool of intimidation. I'm not the only one in the administration's sights. They threatened Attorney General Tish James after she enforced the law. They charged David Huerta for standing up for working people. They investigated members of Congress for telling troops to follow the law. They have singled out the people who challenge their power, and this is only the start. Trump is talking about nationalizing elections. He's got the FBI storming the Fulton County, Georgia election office. This administration has shown us that they only think elections are fair when they win. They don't believe they are accountable to the people on any front. And they are scared more than anything that they will lose power. What we do in this moment matters. People in power haven't always cared about people who look like me. A Black girl from Newark who grew up poor. They haven't always listened to or fought for communities like mine or yours anywhere in this country. But democracy meant that people in power had to listen to us, to the people. That is what is under attack. Authoritarians target their critics one by one to warn everyone else to stay quiet. They drown them in lies and legal bills and fear and threats. They isolate their critics and make the people watching think nothing can be done to help. But that's just another lie they're telling you. America can handle dissent. We should welcome it. The conversation makes us stronger. But Donald Trump doesn't care about America. He cares only about himself, his money, his power. It is time to decide, is democracy worth defending? Is it worth the risk? Is it worth the very real sacrifice? There are people who will tell you that democracy is just a beautiful idea and not something we've bled for. I am not one of those people. Tonight, when you hear the State of the Union, I want you to listen carefully. Watch not just what the president is saying, but what he is doing. Think about what he has done. Is this the America you want? Because that is the real measure of the state of our union. And if the answer to that question is no, then the work is ours. And I know that we can do it together. We must.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski.
Wow, what a powerful speech. What a powerful speech. and couldn't be further from the truth. So, as y'all have heard, there is the State of the Union coming up this evening. There will be Trump's version of that says State of the Union. And then there will also be Ben Masalis over on the Modest Touch Network that will have the People's State of the Union. So you guys get to decide whichever one you want to join and tune into. It's your choice. But everything she said, I could not agree with more. And I do believe there are a lot of us as people that are now seeing and witnessing what is actually happening, not just in the United States, country and government, but also that is starting to happen and trickle over worldwide in other countries as well, especially when it comes to geopolitics and things of that nature. We no longer have allies here in the US, like from other countries. This is the severity of the situation and this president that is in place. He has done people dirty. He has pissed people off. He is not being fair. He is not being civil. And people are saying we're not going to take it laying down. You know, we will fight back or we'll just remove ourselves altogether. And it's a very scary thing, I guess, you know, because we as people that live in the United States do take a lot for granted. And I think for a long period of time, we didn't understand how privileged we just were as citizens in the United States, regardless of the fact if we had a lot of money or we don't have a lot of money. There still is a lot of privilege being someone who lives in this country. And a lot of us, yes, we did not choose to live in this country. We just happened to be born here. And this is just where we're at. But when you look at the grand scheme of things and you pay attention to how other countries suffer and the things that they go through and how we are now finding that our country has been doing business deals with other countries and getting the longer end of the stick while giving them the shorter end of it, we can't say that that's fair. But there are a lot of people that allow themselves to be complacent because the benefit happens to be in the country that they reside in and the lifestyle that they live. If you are a person who really actually cares about all people, despite what country they live in and what race or nationality they may be, then you realize that these things are not fair. And a lot of this has been happening under our noses without us knowing because we didn't necessarily pay attention to politics or, you know, do our research and be educated on it. And since I've started to become educated on it, pay attention to it and follow it very closely and see how a lot of this stuff works, there's a lot of unfairness that is happening. And it puts a lot of people in a predicament where, how would we say this? Some people are living better than others in this world. And I just don't think that our creator desired for things to be this way. I think that comes from greed. I think that comes from entitlement. I think that comes from people who think that they are above and better than other people. And it can be based off of country. It can be based off of race. It can be based off of status, right? And, you know, how you fall as far as class financially. And we've seen so much of that happening and going on. And I think all of that needs to come to an end. And I think that everything needs to start to become more balanced across the board. And when we've been watching what has been playing out with this administration, everything that I really hear out of their mouth, every speech and, you know, every video that I see is always about the money and the power and being at the top and the wealth. And that is what this country, I believe, desires to do and have and how they want to operate. And a lot of people will probably look at me crazy and say, well, why are you talking against that if you live in that country and it benefits you? Because it's not right. It's not right for us as the human race of people. I don't care what country I just happen to be born and raised in and reside in. I care about what is fair and what is right and what is equal. And we can even get into that on a different conversation when it comes to racial stuff. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I feel so strongly about equality, is because, well, we know the history of inequality and we fought for equality. And so when we saying that, we're just saying, and we fought for, and I believe our ancestors fought for, just being an equal part of the table. You know what I mean? Like, not taking anything from anyone else, not saying because we have, they have lesser. Equal. And when it comes to equal, I think we even have to look at that on a bigger scale when it comes to our geopolitics and, you know, how other countries are sitting, how they resting, how they doing. You can't not be a hungry hippo and try to eat it all up for yourself. I just don't think that is the right way to go about it. If everybody broke bread and shared and loved on one another and cared for one another and worked as a team together, we can build this nation up. We can build this world up to be such a better place. But there's always one side that's greedier than the others. And they take, and don't give much back. And this is why we see the world in the state that it's in. And there's a lot of things that doesn't get covered when it comes to other countries and the fights that they're fighting and the struggles that they have living where they are. And if you watch some of those videos, and I have showed some of those here on my lives and stuff as well, because I think it's important for us to see. Because if you don't know, then, and you don't see, then you won't understand. There are a lot of countries of people that are struggling. Worse, bad, very bad. Not like what's going on here in the United States. I'm talking about bad. And that needs to change. That needs to be balanced out as well. And there is enough wealth in this globe to go around for all countries, I think, to not have to be third world countries, to not have to struggle, to not have people that are homeless and barely able to eat, to live in shacks and huts and things of that nature, unless they, you know, that's what they like or they choose to do. I'm saying, I understand, you know, sometimes people, you know, like certain things tribally and stuff like that, but to be forced to live in certain conditions where you don't have to, but it's all because other countries and other places and spaces are greedy and snatching up all of the money and the resources from that said country. I believe that that is why a lot of these countries are down and out the way that they are. And the people there are living under poor conditions, and it's not right. And it's not right for us to be in the United States and say that it's okay for us to be greedy and snatch from everybody else as long as we're okay. I don't think that's fair. I think we all should be okay. There's too much out here for us all to be okay. But there's too many greedy people snatching too much, taking, and not giving and not caring. And I think once we can fix that and we get that under wraps, that this world can be a better place. We all can live in better conditions and a better life. And I think, you know, that's the answer. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I will not preach too much, but I just think about these things often. But anyway, let's move on to the next video. So, like we heard, we know that ICE has been wreaking havoc. We've seen it, the nasty work. I've played a lot of it on videos and content over here on my lives of these ICE agents. And so there's a whistleblower that took to, excuse me. My goodness, I'm so sorry. There's a whistleblower that took to the Senate and was reporting on how they are actually teaching cadets to violate the Constitution. These ICE agents, which is what they're calling them, street cadets, or whatever name you want to come up with them, because, you know, they don't look professional to me, but that's my personal opinion. And there has actually been proof that a lot of them aren't professionals and they don't even have credentials. But anyway, the whistleblower comes out now to say that they are actually being trained and taught and told to move and operate in these harmful ways when it comes to their position as ICE agents. So let's go ahead and listen to that. And then in correlation to that, we'll be going over and listening to some content from Jayapal, Democrat Jayapal. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Jayapal. And she reveals the chilling details that she has bear witness to from these ICE detention centers. So yeah, it's nasty work. It's happening. People are witnessing it, and they're coming to speak about it and bring us the truth. Because, you know, a lot of these individuals are trying to slide this said truth up under the rug and manipulate media so we can't talk about it or tell it. They're trying to censor it. So let's go ahead and get into this real quick, y'all, and I will be right back. I'll meet y'all in the chat.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator Blumenthal, Representative Garcia, members of the committee. My name is Ryan Schwank. I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution when I joined ICE on August 1st, 2021, as an assistant chief counsel. I followed that oath for 4.5 years, working side by side with ICE officers. And I followed it when I resigned on February 13th, 2026, a little over a week ago, so that I could speak to you today. I am here because I am duty-bound to report the legally required training program at the ICE Academy is deficient, defective, and broken. 5 months ago, I was asked to teach the law to new cadets at the ICE Academy in Glencoe, Georgia, where ICE is training its new, inexperienced recruits. I volunteered, those without law enforcement training, I volunteered to take on this assignment based on my experience in law enforcement oversight, including at the state and local level prior to my work with ICE. On my first day, I received secretive orders to teach new cadets to violate the Constitution by entering homes without a judicial warrant. For the last 5 months, I watched ICE dismantle the training program, cutting 240 hours of vital classes from a 584-hour program. Classes that teach the Constitution, our legal system, firearms training, the use of force, lawful arrests, proper detention, and the limits of officers' authority. For example, they ceased all of the legal instructions regarding use of force. This means that cadets are not taught what it means to be objectively reasonable, the very standard which the law requires them to meet when deciding whether or not to use deadly force. Our jobs as instructors are to teach them so well that they can make split-second decisions about what they can and cannot do in life or death situations. Yet, in the name of churning out an endless stream of officers, DHS leadership has dismantled the academic and practical tests that we need to know if cadets can safely and lawfully perform their job. All to satisfy an administration demanding they train thousands of new officers before the end of the year. DHS told the public that new cadets receive all the training they need to perform their duties, that no critical material or standards have been cut. This is a lie. ICE made the program shorter, and they removed so many essential parts that what remains is a dangerous husk. No reasonable person would believe a training program suddenly cut nearly in half could meet the minimum legal requirements. These aren't abstract rules. They're required in regulations such as 8 CFR 287G1. Congress requires immigration officers to meet minimum standards for a reason. ICE cannot lawfully perform their duties, make arrests, carry weapons, and use force without passing appropriate training. New cadets are graduating from the academy despite widespread concerns among training staff that even in the final days of training, the cadets cannot demonstrate a solid grasp of the tactics or the law required to perform their jobs. Without reform, ICE will graduate thousands of new officers who do not know their constitutional duty, do not know the limits of their authority, and who do not have the training to recognize an unlawful order. That should scare everyone. DHS assures the public these cadets can get the job training on to compensate for anything missing at the academy. This is a lie. Many graduates go to their home office just long enough to get their gun, their badge, and their body armor before deploying to places like Minneapolis and other ICE operations with minimal supervision. It's shocking that anyone would think this is safe or responsible. And this pattern of lies is not isolated. It extends beyond the training program to include deceiving Congress and the public about the rules followed by ICE officers once they graduate. On my first day at the academy, I was instructed to read and return a memo in my supervisor's presence, which claimed ICE officers could enter homes without a judicial warrant. The acting ICE director authorized the very conduct that DHS, in its own 2025 legal training materials, had called the chief evil against which the wording of the Fourth Amendment is directed. That is, physical entry of the home without consent or a proper warrant. Never in my career had I ever received such a blatantly unlawful order, nor one conveyed in such a troubling manner. Incredibly, I was being shown this memo in secret by my supervisor, who made sure that I understood that disobedience could cost me my job. ICE is teaching cadets to violate the Constitution, and they were attempting to cloak it in secrecy by demanding that I lie about it. I am here to convey to the public the danger that is being created at the ICE Academy. I know from my conversations with many facility members, many of the faculty, that I am not alone in my fear. Law enforcement is a deadly serious business. It is not a place for shortcuts. Deficient training can and will get people killed. It can and will lead to unlawful arrests, violations of constitutional rights, and a fundamental loss of public trust in law enforcement. ICE is lying to Congress and the American people about the steps it is taking to ensure its 12,000 new officers faithfully uphold the Constitution and can perform their jobs. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak to you today and happy to answer any questions you have now or in the future. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Schwank. Mr. Brunel.
All right, y'all. So as we can see, this is a individual, the whistleblower, which we need more people that's going to come out and tell the truth when it comes to these things, that is telling you firsthand that he knows exactly what the training process looks like for these ICE officers, and that they're skipping vital points within that training that teach them, as you heard him say, about protecting people's constitutional rights, being able to make split decisions, and keeping lives intact, even while maybe having to detain. But they're passing these people through very quickly without taking these classes that are supposed to be taken for the full period of time they're supposed to take them. They basically just throwing them out there with these uniforms, badges, and shields, allegedly, and weapons, and telling them to go out and detain people on the streets when they are not learning all of the proper training that they need to do. Now, y'all tell me what y'all think about that, because I remember in my life, I work in the medical field, right? So I've worked on many places and spaces in the medical field, whether it was working in nursing homes or what do they call them? There's, multiple names for it. I don't want to say it to be offensive, but yeah, like nursing homes, respiratory homes and stuff like that, rehabilitation centers. Then I went on to work in optometry and ophthalmology. And on these jobs, there were extensive amounts of training, which the great thing was you can get training on the job. That's always a bonus and a plus because you can work and get paid while also doing your training at the same time. And you have to complete that said training from beginning to end. And you cannot get out on that work floor and that workplace until you have completed that training from beginning to end. Even if it is 50 chapters of whatever it is you have to learn about, you have to complete all of them and you have to pass each one and know exactly what you're doing before you get out on that work, because it's a serious situation. Okay, that's also a field that comes to caring for and saving lives, right? Now, we're asking ourselves, when it comes to ICE, we understand that their job is to detain individuals that they say are immigrants and, they do not belong in this country and they need to detain them and get them out of the country. Again, not my words, theirs, not things that I see fit, but they do. And certain countries do as well. I don't know, that is how it is. All of those things are in place. And so if you have to have training to do those type of things, I would assume that the goal is not to end a life. You're detaining someone in a humane way. And unfortunately, because you may feel as though, or they say that they have not followed the proper laws to be in that country, they don't have the proper paperwork. A lot of this we are finding to be untrue, actually. But if that is a job that you have, you need to have the proper training when it comes to that, because if you are doing something like that, that ties into the government, right? And the Constitution. And so you would need to take the constitutional classes to understand what the Constitution is. So if you have to read these people their rights and tell them what rights that they do and do not have, you at least need to know about them. There are a lot of people in the United States that don't know the Constitution. They don't know the rights. They don't know the amendments. They don't know anything. And these are people that are born and raised in this country that don't even know their own Constitution, their own amendments, their own rights. They don't. I'm telling you for real what I know to be true. And so if you're going to apprehend someone and explain to them that their existence here in this country is against our Constitution and they don't have the right to be here, don't you need to know what those said constitutions and rights are to be able to tell this person you're apprehending that they're going against all of that or they're out of that boundary in some type of way? You got to know what you're talking about, right? And on top of that, not only is it knowing about the law, the Constitution, the amendments, the rights, it's also because you're now a boots on the ground type of individual that they are handing weapons to that can use these firearms and these weapons because you've been told that you can. But if you don't have the right proper training to know when to use it and when not to use it, how to use it, because you didn't take those classes, then I don't think you should be having that said weapon. Like even with us citizens, if you want to go and apply, because there's gun laws, if you want to go and apply to have a weapon, a firearm, you have to take classes. You have to go to the gun range. You have to learn how to actually operate the weapon. You have to learn the laws, when you can use it, when you can use it, when it can be concealed, when it can be unconcealed. You have to learn those things. Those are laws that are in place that, child, we ain't put them in place. They put them in place. And now we're saying that certain groups of people have to abide by those laws and certain groups of people don't. Certain groups of people have to learn them and know them inside and out, and certain people don't. That's the question. So a lot of these people out here, that we have been seeing a lot of these fatalities come from when it comes to these ICE agents, we also have to take into account yet another thing, that when you put a little piece of power in somebody's hand, there are certain type of individuals that will take that power and run with it. So you got people out here with a gripe or a hate or a prejudice or a bias, and you put a weapon in their hand and you tell them, oh, they don't have to fully know how to use it, and they don't have to know when or when not to use it. Just give it to them and send them out there. What do you think is going to happen? And we know what the tensions are right now, not just in our country, but in our world. There's a lot of hate out there right now. There's a lot of racism out there right now. And a lot of people shy away from that and they get scared. But be scared all you want to. It's there. It's there. It's happening. We see it. We got to talk about it. And so we add all of that up in this special potion and mixture here when it comes to ICE. And then we can understand why we're seeing fatalities, why we are seeing, people being abused out on the streets and misused, individuals that just don't care, pull up their britches, put their gun on their hip, and go out for whatever reason they feel or they see fit. They done had a bad day. The girlfriend and broke up with them. They're racist, whatever it is. They can put all of that energy and that power behind a weapon that they never fully learned how to use. And they don't know that there's laws as to how you use it, when you use it. And it's not the only weapon that a lot of these people are given, right? Even when it comes to police officers, they have pow-pows. They also have tasers. They used to have, back in the day, and I think maybe in some countries they may still have batons and things like that. So they have other options and weapons that they can use to slow someone down, to, put them at a lower defense, to be able to detain them and, get them into custody or whatever. But we're seeing everybody now is going for the hip, for the pow-pow, and just pow, 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 and just, that's it. And even when it comes to that, there's training in places that you can pow-pow a person to dismantle them, right? You don't pow-pow people in certain places where it can lead to a fatality. If you're trying to slow that person down or stop them, and you learn in training, there are certain places where you can pow-pow at, where that person's still going to have their life. It might just be a wound or something that needs to be dealt with and healed up in a medical facility. But they're alive. These people are just pow-powing people down. No training, no understanding of where you hit, where you don't hit, where you aim, where you don't aim. And then on top of that, the feelings and the thoughts that they have inside themselves while having this said power at their fingertips. You have to question that. And, that's just what I feel about all of it. But anyway, let's move along. We're going to go ahead and take a quick song break. After this song break, we're going to get into the next video, because after individuals are, apprehended, they do have these detention centers that they are sending these people to. And within these detention centers, there is a lot of heinous things happening, and the way that these people are living in these detention centers are disgusting. And we have government officials that are standing on the right side of justice that have been visiting these said detention centers and witnessing with their own eyes exactly how these people are being treated. And we're going to go ahead and get into that video right after this song break. And I'll be right back, y'all. I got to get me some water. My mouth is dry. I'm sorry. So I will be right back. Let me go ahead and get into this song.
soul. vision. The mission of the television, spitting division, a mental prison. Got the youth chasing likes, addicted to the feed, ignoring the hunger, the fundamental need. They building paper idols on a digital stage, putting our future daughters in a virtual cage. Now we gotta break the cycle, gotta cut the cord. The real word is powerful, mighty even the sword. So we teach them about their history, teach them about their grace, teach them about the power, every single face. We are human, blood and bone and soul. With the right to be made, the right to be whole. This is our story, this is our sacred song. In the eyes of the Creator is where we all belong. We are human, worth more than they can price. Beyond the hateful whispers and the loaded ties. A world where every voice is heard and valued. And truth is not a whisper, but a mighty thundering word. A word of justice, a word of peace, a promise that the fight will never cease. This ain't just a track, it's a call to action. For every mother, father, every single fraction of the community holding it down on the ground. Time to get loud, make a revolutionary sound. Look your child in the eye, tell them that they matter. Tell them their spirit's something to know like a shadow. Tell them knowledge is the weapon, love is the shield, and the truth is the harvest. We're gonna grow in this field. Yeah. Oh, yes we are. Oh, near and far. Let them know the sacred word for every single soul on this earth. Human, right to live. Human, a gift to give.
All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get into this next video right here. So we have Representative Jayapal's chilling detention center details. Democrat Pramila Jayapal has revealed harrowing details from her recent visits to ICE detention facilities. She described mothers being held in kennel-like conditions, often referred to as the dog pound, where they can hear their children screaming in adjacent rooms. Jayapal is vowing not to give up the fight against these militarized enforcement tactics and the humanitarian crisis within these said centers. So let's go ahead and get into this video real quick, y'all. I'll meet y'all in the chat.
At the Tacoma Detention Center, the ICE facility that is run by the private for-profit contractor GEO. We arrived at 10 o'clock. We had given 8 days notice that I was coming for a visit, which, by the way, should not be required. I should be allowed as a member of Congress to come anytime I want and conduct unannounced visits. But because they are refusing to allow people in, and I really wanted to get in, and I had a number of names of detainees that I wanted to see, I gave notice that I was coming. I had a long list of questions because I've been to this facility so many times. Actually, my organization that I started, immigrant rights organization that I started, actually published the first human rights abuses report about this facility back in 2008. So I know the facility really well. I don't need a tour. What I wanted to do was sit down, talk to the management of this facility, both GEO and ICE, and then be able to go to the general detainee population, see the conditions, and then talk to the people that I had gotten signed privacy release forms for. That was my plan. I arrived here at 10 o'clock for my appointment, and I was told that I could only go on a tour, but I couldn't have a meeting. I couldn't see the detainees on the general floor, and I couldn't see the detainees for whom I had privacy waivers for. And I said, I'm not going to leave because that's ridiculous. We are the ones that fund your agencies, and I am a member of Congress, and I should be able to come in here and do all of these things that I'm asking to do. And so I refused to leave. And there was a lot of conversation with their higher ups. I asked to speak to their higher ups. I was not allowed to do that. My chief counsel for the immigration subcommittee in DC also contacted DHS at the top levels. And basically they denied me the ability to have a meeting with the people who run this facility. they said that if I wanted to have a meeting, that I had to put in a request to have a meeting. And then they said that they had given us notice that we couldn't see any detainees, even if we had signed privacy release forms, unless we had given them 7 days notice to do that. And as it turns out, that was not in the original thing that they sent us. 48 hours before my visit, apparently they sent us updated guidance saying that I needed 7 days to provide them with these forms. And so clearly that wouldn't have been possible. And this is all just one hurdle after another to make sure that we can't do oversight of these private for-profit detention facilities that get so much of your taxpayer dollars and then provide all of these hurdles so that we can't assess what they're doing. And when we've heard so much about all the problems. So while I was in there refusing to leave as they kept me waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, I actually had a chance to talk to a number of attorneys who were here to see their clients. And that was really good because I got a lot of information from them about the fact that these attorneys are here to see their clients, and they are made to wait sometimes 4-5 hours just in order to see their clients. And I want to remind everyone that's watching this live that the immigration system is a civil system. So people don't get provided with an attorney. You only get an attorney if you can find a pro bono attorney, or if you can pay for an attorney and you can find one somewhere to represent you. And by the way, there are unfortunately fraudulent attorneys who try to scam people. We heard about that in here today, where they'll charge you $2,000-3,000 and target a group from a particular country or a particular continent and not even provide good legal advice and get people into more trouble. But there are some really amazing attorneys that provide pro bono legal advice, like Northwest Immigrant Rights Project and some others. And so we were talking to some of the attorneys that were here to see their clients. They're made to wait 4 or 5 hours to see their clients. And that's extremely difficult. If you're a pro bono attorney, you have all these cases, you're trying to serve as many people as you can, and then you have to sit here and wait in the facility for 4 or 5 hours. By the way, there's no Wi-Fi, so it's not like they can be doing other work while they're here. And we actually watched these attorneys tell us that there are 7 interview rooms. The population, we were told, is about 12 to 1,300 detainees.
So they, oh, help me, Lord. When she said that this facility has no Wi-Fi, and don't get me wrong, I'm on her side, right? So I want y'all to hear what she has to say about how these facilities are being ran and what is being done in these facilities. But what I'm saying is, for a facility to tell you that they have no Wi-Fi, they have, let's be clear, they have private Wi-Fi. And they just are not allowing certain individuals to be able to access that Wi-Fi, because you cannot work at a facility of that nature and not be able to have Wi-Fi or any type of internet connectivity, because I'm pretty sure at these type of facilities they're working on laptops and computers, so you have to have internet services. So when they're telling people we don't have any Wi-Fi at this facility, you have limited Wi-Fi, or you have privileged Wi-Fi that is only accessible to the staff. Is not accessible because you don't want any of these detainees who may, and I'm pretty sure, you know, they search them and strip them and stuff and try to probably take their cell phones and devices when they come in. But you don't even want outside sources reporting on or using their Wi-Fi to get on devices to report on what is going on at these detention centers. So you're being stingy with your Wi-Fi. You know, that's what I think. That's my personal opinion. That's, you know, it's not a fact, it's alleged. But I mean, come on. A detention center at this size and capacity, moving and operating the way they do and having to have communications on the inside and the outside, not having any Wi-Fi in the whole center, that's unbelievable, especially in 2026. So no, they say that because there's certain individuals that they don't want to have access to that said Wi-Fi. So if a lawyer wanted to come there, I'm like, okay, I have to sit here for 5 to 6 hours so I can wait to meet with my client. I'll get some work done while I'm here. I'll tap into the Wi-Fi and get on my laptop. And then we know with all this other phishing and things of those natures when it comes to these cyber offenses and crimes that, you know, with the Wi-Fi and stuff like that, they like to hide that because you never know if somebody can tap into it and find out information and so on and so forth. We're not dumb. I just don't understand why they think that people are dumb. We understand. We get it. We know why you hiding and you being stingy with the Wi-Fi. We get it. Okay. And then they may think that lawyers may slip in a cell phone or a device or something that they give to their client so they can connect on the Wi-Fi and reach out and speak and talk about these horrible conditions that these people are being under. It's just another way to keep people silenced. Okay. So I just wanted to add that in there. That just had me busting in fumes for a minute. And she's telling us, like, literally, this is what they tell you to your face. Like, we don't have Wi-Fi. Don't sit here and lie to my face and tell me you don't have Wi-Fi or internet services, please. You're not going to tell me that. And sometimes for me, I don't know, y'all. I'm just kind of bred a little bit differently. It's just like, I'm not about to just sit up here and be like, you tell me this and I believe you. If I don't believe you, I'm going to tell you I don't believe you. I'm going to tell you exactly why I don't believe you. I'm like, that's a lie. Y'all got Wi-Fi up in here. Y'all just don't want me to use it. Period. Just be clear about it. If you're going to come forth with it, then come forth with the truth and stand 10 toes down on it. Don't lie. A facility that large doesn't have internet access or Wi-Fi. Are you kidding me? I don't believe that. Do y'all believe that? Y'all let me know what y'all think. But anyway, that really just, yeah. Nah.
They're being held in this facility. 12 to 1,300 people are being held in this facility. And there are 7 rooms that lawyers can use to talk to their clients. 2 of those are sometimes used for hearings. And so there's really 5 rooms that can be used. And even then, there are these situations where attorneys are here, but the rooms are free and the attorneys are not getting in. So we saw that happen while we were waiting later for another reason to go see one of the people that I'd come to see, where an attorney knew that there was a room that had just been vacated, but she was just not given the opportunity to use that room. And so she had been waiting for 2 hours just in the time that we were there. I don't know if she ever got in to see her client. So we heard from the attorneys about just the incredible difficulty of just getting any due process at all. And then we also heard from them about their clients' experiences with the food. One attorney was telling us that his client found rat feces in their food. And so they just stopped eating their regular meals and they were trying to get the money from, friends or family or whoever so that they could go to the commissary and buy prepackaged food. Other attorneys told us about how food is sometimes arrives to them frozen, and then they have to try and figure out how to microwave it, but there's only a certain number of microwaves on the floor, so then that turns into a fight. We also heard about how the meal times are really all over the place. Sometimes you get a meal at 6 a.m, sometimes it's at 8 a.m. And then, we heard about all of the issues with medical help and the inability to get the medical assistance that they need, whether it's getting their medications on time or whether it's actually getting medical services that they should be able to have. So this is all just while we're waiting for them to come out, and you probably saw some of my other videos about this. And so I think by the time we went on a tour, because they told us that they couldn't answer any questions unless we were on a tour. So I was like, great, we'll walk down the hallway. I'll ask you a bunch of questions. We got very few answers. If we asked a general question, they said, well, I don't have the numbers for that. That's too general. If we asked a specific question, they said, we can't tell you any specifics. And we had the top people from the facility. I mean, we had the person who is in charge of the facility. That's from GEO. We had the person who is the ICE person And then we also had the congressional liaison person who, who is supposed to make sure that we can have conversations, except we're not allowed to have a meeting in a meeting room. I had to ask my questions while we were walking down the halls. So I didn't get much information there, but one very important piece of information I did get, and this is an estimate, I'm not holding anyone to it, but there are different levels of essentially security. So the lowest level for people who have no criminal record, are not a threat to public safety, is level 1, and then it goes up to level 3. And the estimate that was given to us is that about 60% of people are level 1. And then level 2 is divided into 2 categories. And so even if you take their worst numbers, 60% of the people that are in here pose absolutely no threat to public safety. And I would guess that they didn't give me a percentage for level 2, but I would guess that by ICE's own generalized numbers, 85% of people across the country have no criminal history at all, are not a threat to public safety. And so I think that's probably similar here as well. And so think about the fact that these are all folks who have really committed no crime and are sitting in this facility on all kinds of immigration statuses. So I refused to leave until I got to see the person that I had a privacy waiver form for. And I actually had a couple, but for a bunch of other reasons, I couldn't see the other ones. I was like, I have to see this one. His attorney was actually here as well. And they were in the interview room, and I had the privacy waiver form, and the attorney wanted me to be in there, and they still wouldn't let me into the interview room. So I said, I'm not leaving until you let me talk to him. And so what they finally did is they said, okay, I think they just wanted to get me out of there. They finally said, you can go and do public visitation, which means that you're speaking to the person through a glass, and they have a phone and you have a phone. So I went with his attorney, who also served as my interpreter, and I got to speak to.
All right, y'all. Y'all know how I am. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It's terrible. We understand it's nasty circumstances, right? Now, for years and years and years, there have been individuals of all races, let's be very clear about that, being detained in county jails, state jails, prisons, so on and so forth, that have had a lot of these same stories to tell as not just the inmates, but their representatives and lawyers also had these same stories to tell when it came to making connection with some of their clients for a little bit. And then it changed a little bit, and then not as much as it needed to change. I have heard and talked to many people who have been to prison, and they've talked about, the conditions in these prisons, as far as how they sleep, as far as how they're treated, as far as the food that they got to eat, right? So it is a lot of nasty work. And it's been happening in prisons, regular prisons. And we talking about citizen prisons. Like, you're a United States citizen. You could be born and raised here. You live here, commit a crime, you go to a prison, whatever. The prison situation, being in these said prisons, is nasty work, And we've had a lot of people that have been speaking on that, and trying to say, like, these conditions in these prisons are terrible. Now, we understand that these conditions in these detention centers are equally as terrible, right? Nasty work should never happen. This is my question to the people. This is what I want to ask the people. This is what I want to know when it comes to certain things, okay? And this is not me pointing or pinning one against the other. When I speak, my mindset goes to a whole, a collective. You understand? So my question is, now I understand these detention centers right now for illegal immigrants is what they want to call them, that they want to have deported out of this country, and they're under these detention centers, and they're, nasty work. ways that they're keeping them held captive at these detention centers. It's the same way and the same nasty work that they keep criminals that they feel as though they are citizens of this country held in prisons. So my question is, yes, I want to fight for and speak up for immigrants and people that are being abused, mistreated in any type of way in these detention centers, because ICE or the country feels as though they don't belong in this country and they need to get out. I will speak up and fight for them. But I also think we need to speak up and fight for, even if citizens or people within the country commit crimes and go to these prisons and these jails, the circumstances that they have to live under as well. Should we not fight and speak up for these things equally? Because while I'm hearing what she's saying, I'm hearing stories that I've heard before. And I didn't hear them about detention centers. I heard them about prisons that we have here in this country, amongst this country in different states. And child, I'm not from any other country, but I heard in other countries, their prison systems can be even worse. And so if we're going to talk about standing up for human rights and humanity and people not being, even when detained and done something wrong, not treated like they're just a common freaking animal, but you know, there are some that do act like animals. We get that. And I think we won't talk about all that. I get that, okay? But if we're going to be fair here across the board, it's like there's so many things that we need to work on, and not just in our country, but worldwide and other countries as well. Like these detention centers, no, they should not be operating like this. These prisons, I don't think they should be operating the way that they operate. But we know one of the things that we always can guarantee is when these individuals are placed in these type of centers under hold and things of that nature, there's a big payout for it. They get paid very greatly to detain people in these type of prisons and detention centers. And so, you know, the individuals probably get the less of it because they want to keep majority of the money, and the less money they have to spend on, you know, humane things to give to the individuals, even while imprisoned or detained, the less money they have to give them is the more money they can keep in their pocket. And that's just my personal opinion. I can't be sure how it all goes down, but it's what it seems like. Now, I just don't know, y'all. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Like, I really be asking y'all to tell me what y'all think. Because I be wondering, like, am I the only one who thinks this way? Am I the only one who sees things this way? Like, I just see these things and I'm just like, okay. It all seems like it's connecting in some shape or form. And who are these individuals, or what do you think these people see these individuals as? Less than, almost good to nothing, less than an animal. Honestly, I mean, they'll take the chickens out there and feed to the coop. They'll make sure the pigs got their slop, you know, but it's like sometimes they treat humans like they are less than human, no matter the circumstances, right? They still don't see you as a human. They see you as something less than. And you see people getting treated like that. And I just think that's nasty work. It bothers me, but I don't know. We may have to cut this short, y'all, because I'm probably going over in time, and I had 2 more videos I wanted to show y'all. But this is an important one. But if y'all want to listen to the rest of this, this is over here on J-Hook Global, so y'all can watch this. But I mean, all you gotta do is type it in. This is Democrat Jayapal. I think I'm saying her name right. I hope so. She's revealing what is going on in these detention centers, and it's very serious. I think we need to pay attention to that and care about it and give a daggone about it. And I'm saying that because I'm trying not to cuss y'all. I'm trying to do better. But you know what I mean? It's just like, but there are a lot of parallels. But anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and get into this next video. So Don Lemon is going to be expressing and talking about some of his story. Remember when they tried to arrest him and they took him in because he was reporting about how one of the major ICE leaders happened to be a pastor or a preacher at one of the churches in Minneapolis, Twin City, where he was going to, I guess, cover that story, and they felt as though that he was a tyrant for doing so, and they went out of their way and found any way they could to get him hemmed up and arrested. The first couple tries, it didn't work, and then on that final one, somehow they were able to get him detained and arrested, but he got out and free, because, like, seriously. And now he's going to be talking about how during that time they took his phone from him. They were holding all of his stuff hostage, okay, because they wanted him to be silenced. They did not want him to talk. They did not want him to report. And this is what they're doing. Okay, they're trying to take our amendments away of free speech. But anyway, let's go ahead and hear from, and this is Jennifer from iHit News, I've Had It podcast, and Don Lemon. Let's hear a little bit of this experience that Don had when he was apprehended.
Independent journalist and one of my best friends, Don Lemon. Don, how are you? How is life?
Hi, Jennifer Welch. Life is better when I can see you and hear your voice. It's a little crazy, as you know. We've discussed a little bit, but I'm doing okay. How's that?
That's good. Well, listener, as you know, the Trump regime, prosecution that makes absolutely zero sense while ignoring the Epstein files, and they arrested our good friend Don Lemon for doing his job, a journalist, as well as other journalists. Don wasn't the only one. And Kylie put up the headline about his phone. I was told, Don, we couldn't ask you about anything unless it was reported. It says, defiant Don Lemon says the process is the punishment after lawyers reveal the feds took his phone. Do they still have your phone?
They do. They still have my phone. Yeah. And look, there have been reports on it because the reports say that it's difficult to open, the phones or whatever, get access to the phones. And so I don't know, because I've never tried to get in somebody else's phone, but there's nothing in there that, good. I want my phone back, but what they'll find is that there's nothing in there that really helps them. So I would love to be able to get my phone back, but I would like for them to do it quick, fast, and in a hurry, because I think in the old days, if they took your phone, I don't think people were as used to having their life being on their phones, but my life is on my phone. My work is on my phone. I did a live shot in the snow this morning from a phone that I borrowed. And so I need my phone in order to not just to be able to call my family and my friends and my loved ones, but to conduct my business. It's my livelihood.
So are your lawyers going to be able to get your phone back?
I think so, but do I want it back after that? You know what I mean? And it's just, it's difficult if you're a high profile person, but especially if you're a journalist, right? There's certain things that you don't want revealed. And I think there's privileged information on my phone. And I have almost everyone who's of importance in the universe in there, from presidents to everybody, to heads of states, and to, important actors and actresses and artists and Jen Welch. And, I don't want them seeing that. They shouldn't be allowed to see that. It's none of their business. It has nothing to do with what happened in Minnesota.
I can just picture these just gross little MAGAs going all through your phone, and they'll find out the night that you were arrested, I sent you a text that said, I love you, Dawn. And so that's what they're going to have on us.
They're going to come back and get you.
Okay, let's move on to, I don't know about you, but I get a lot of, and I know you do too, I get a lot of death threats, hate mail. When I just arrived back in Oklahoma City here from Mexico, I had a letter from somebody wishing death upon me, telling me there was anthrax in the letter. And I thought, who am I supposed to report this to? Cash Patel, like he's
To
going to
the-
give a shit. I mean,
to
who
the
do you
FBI.
report it to?
Oh, you're right about that because, I still get those things. But when back during the first Trump administration, you remember, I mean, you watched me. Remember, they would send pipe bombs to CNN and news organizations. I was in the middle of my show one night and we had to be evacuated. And we did the show on the street in front of the CNN studios at Columbus Circle in New York because of threats, bomb threats and death threats. I had security and all those things. And even now, very similar. So who do you report it to? Do I report it to the same people who are going after me?
Right.
You know what I mean? Who do you report it to?
That's what I was.
You criticized, Jen? I mean.
Right. So, I mean, I got these horrible like death threat letters and I thought, well, do I screenshot it and put at Cash Patel? But let's see what Cash Patel, the director of the FBI, let's see what he's up to, how he.
Okay, y'all. So that was like one of the most impertinent things that I have been paying attention to, and also asking myself when it comes to what we are seeing happening within our administration now, and not even is it just now, it has been previous as well. So one of the things that I'm really curious about is who can you run to? You know what I'm saying? Like, if the individuals that you're supposed to run to for the help and the protection are the individuals that are hurting and harming you and detaining you or trying to silence you, where do you go next? Like, who do you call? Batman, Spider-Man, Superman? Like, what are we supposed to go to now? Superheroes? Because none of these departments within our government that are supposed to be doing their jobs the proper way are doing them the proper way. So people are out here like, yo, who we supposed to call? Like, and this has been a thing for a bit because a lot of people was feeling that way back when there was so much police brutality, right? In the cities, in the areas. It's like, yo, if I'm in a pinch, if I'm having some type of situation and I need legal enforcement to come and help me, and let's be very clear, we seen the stories play out. Anybody remember the Sandra Massey story? Let's not so easily forget about that. That woman, despite the fact that she might have had mental illness, she was calling the police for aid and assistance. And when the police came to aid and assist her, how did that story end up? With her being unalived at the hands of the police. So we have that. We have ICE agents that just mercenaries out here, just doing whatever they want to do. And then we also have the DOJ, the FBI, and other organizations like that are led by these, Trump Gestapos, whatever they want to call them. Child, that's what Ben be saying. I don't know what you call them, but whoever these Looney Tunes are, that are in these places and positions that they don't deserve to be in. And so when you're calling up 911 now, can you be sure what is going to happen on the other end of that call? Who is going to turn up to your house, and what exactly are they going to do to help aid and abide in the situation? And I started to see a shift of this personally, right? Personally, I would see where officers would show up and they would leave and say, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. Like, just don't care. Figure it out yourselves. Like all kinds of different things like that. And it's just, look, I can't be sure. I really can't be sure. If you a bystander, you see something bad happen, you calling the officers. Because you like, yo, this person needs some help, some assistance, something's happening, there is something going on. We need some interference here from law officials. And then when you look, you almost feel bad because half of the time, the ones who are the victims are the ones that's getting thrown in the back of the cop car and being taken away. Now look, some of the stuff don't be your business and you don't know all of the information in the tea, but I'm just saying it happens a lot more times than it doesn't. And so now we have sitting up here a prestigious journalist, Don Lemon, saying he literally feels the same way. Like, if I need to reach out for help or if I'm going to try and get any more assistance on this situation that I've been through, who exactly do I contact and reach out to if these are the individuals that attacked me in the first place? Don't that make sense to y'all? Like, it makes sense to me. I get exactly what he's saying. Like, who are you supposed to reach out to and contact to help aid and assist you in the time of need when it comes to the justice system, when the justice system is now the system that is attacking people for literally no reason? I guess maybe just for telling the truth. Being a journalist, being a whistleblower, being someone who wants to get the truth out and spread the nasty, dirty work that is really happening and the corruption that's really happening within these systems. And when you do that, they sick their pit bulls on you. And that's supposed to be the organization and the group that's supposed to protect and serve, or put other organizations and groups in place to protect and serve. But none of these organizations and groups protect and serve. They just go out and attack and bite like pit bulls. So what are we supposed to think? Like, what are we supposed to do? And there's many other groups and organizations like that too, you know, where people are needing help and aid and assistance. They have stories to tell. They're telling the truth. No one wants to listen. These organizations and groups are not set up to listen to the truth. They all they care about is the lie, the salaciousness of it all. Where's the protection? Do we have it anymore? And again, I want to say this as a disclaimer. There are police officers. There are officers and people and individuals I know that are working in some of these groups and organizations that do have their heart and their minds in the right places when it comes to performing their job the way it was intended for them to do it. And they show up every day to work, and that is their intention. We have seen the integrity of a lot of people under the DOJ that are like just willingly quitting and walking away from their jobs and their careers that they've had for multiple years because they don't like the way things are operating and they're not going to conform to that. So they're even willy-nilly giving up their jobs. Who knows? Like, are they giving up their pensions? Are they what are they sacrificing to walk away from this integrity? So don't get me wrong. I know that there are good people out there that do hold these positions and have these jobs, that do stand up and do go to work every day with wanting to do what's right and serve justice in the right way. It's not everybody. It's not everybody. And I don't want anybody to feel bad about that. If you are someone, you know, who may be part of any of these groups or work for any of the organization, or you're a veteran or a retiree from any of these places, and you did the best that you can do, and you always did it in an integral way, and you continue to try to do it in an integral way, salute and respect to you, because I understand it's very hard. Like when you're going in there and it's like 40% of us want to do it the right way and 60% of us want to do it the corrupt way. What are we supposed to do? Like our backs is against the wall. Like they always going to win every time, you know? I get that. I really, really get that. And that makes that hard for people to do their job and have their career and all of those things. So I don't know. But anyway, let's keep going with this video, y'all. I got to end it soon. I'm sorry to be so chatty today. But yeah, let's get back into it. I'll be right back.
He runs his department. Kylie, play the clip.
Yeah.
Okay. This loser putting somebody's gold medal on and
Stolen valor.
Totally stolen valor. And he's just such a loser.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, this is a guy who is just juiced up on MAGA and this compensatory narcissism. Mm-hmm. He feels so insecure about his manliness, about his manhood, that he thinks, well, if I'm director of FBI, then that's going to make me manly. Mm-hmm. If I go party with the hockey team, then that's going to make me manly. And these people are just so incredibly broken. What's your take on that? What do you think would happen if Obama's FBI director did that?
Oh my God, I said that. Well, not only that, if Obama's FBI director was flying around vacationing with girlfriends on a company jet, right? Which, you know, they have access to, they're the head of the FBI. But imagine if that was Christopher Wray doing the same thing. But I also think that when I said stolen valor, they're birds of a feather. I know it's a cliche, and people sort of mimic what happens at the top. Donald Trump wants the woman, and you remember he took her Nobel Peace Prize, right? And so now he's putting on the same thing, like, oh, someone is putting on a gold medal on him. First of all, I'm happy for the USA hockey team, but I'm like, why are they hanging out with this loser? And who wants to be associated with anybody in this administration right now, especially when you see and what's happening on the streets of America with them, you know, pulling people, yanking people off of the streets, dragging them across the ground, beating up young, you know, women, nursery school teachers, preschool teachers, moms in the carpool line. It's like, who wants to be associated with this administration? If I were on that hockey team, first of all, I can skate, but not that well. But if I were on that hockey team, I'd be like, no thanks to hanging out with Kash Patel or any sort of phone call or going to the White House for Donald Trump. I just wouldn't. But they're all the same thing. They're all the same level of narcissistic. But I called it, when I posted, Jen, I call it classless. These people have no class. If you're the FBI director, why do you need to be in there doing that? Show some class, a modicum of class. And don't be a hypocrite. They're all hypocrites as well, because he as you know, he criticized Christopher Wray for not even that behavior, you know?
Well, and if you think about it, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who's now left the FBI because it was too hard for him to go work in an office all day, his words, not mine, but they got their attention to Donald Trump because they were laser focused on the Epstein files. Mm-hmm. Laser focused.
They were conspiracy theorists who spouted off on a microphone conspiracy theories.
And then they get inside the Death Star and they realize, oh shit, the call is coming from inside the house.
Yep.
And so he was so critical of FBI, which I think, you know, this is a free country. You can be critical if you're a podcaster, you can be critical of governmental agencies. But here he is. This thing, not only are these people classless, they're breathtaking hypocrites. The hypocrisy is overwhelming. Here he is, Don, talking about, before he was FBI director, about directors using the private planes for personal use. Play the clip.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying take all their funding. I'm not the defund everything guy. I'm just saying Chris Wray doesn't need a government-funded G5 jet to go to vacation.
Okay.
Maybe we ground that.
Have you seen the reports of him? That he's been criticized.
Well. Did y'all see and hear that? But I'm pretty sure y'all seen and heard that before. But let's just break it down and keep it real about what it is. We're talking about hypocrisy, but we're also talking about being paid, bought and paid for. Okay, so a lot of this that you're seeing with this switch up of energy from individuals is because when they're on the side where they gotta hustle and grind to get money and to make money, maybe on a podcast or a YouTube platform or whatever, then now you have all of this, you know, okay, we're gonna talk against this. This is not right. These people are not right. They're not doing good. This is my thoughts, my feeling, my opinion. Then when somebody snatches you up and they put you to sit in that same seat that you were talking against and they give you a certain amount of money, then now all of a sudden your talking points and your feelings and your thoughts and emotions about the same set things that you talked previously against seem to change because your bank account seemed to change. A lot of people change when money and opportunities are given to them. I'm telling you, y'all should know this. I know this. I've witnessed this in my life, not even on a grand scale of billionaires and zillionaires and things like that. Just people that might go from a regular worker to a manager. Child, they come in to the job the next day. You don't know who they are. They dressing different. They acting different. They talking different because that money makes people change. And you got to imagine with all of this, if he's an FBI director, imagine how much money they're paying that guy to stay silent. Like, imagine how much money they're paying him to hide things or, you know, slow down the release of certain things or only release these certain things, or release them in this way. Like, come on. Do y'all think that we're slow? We know you're getting paid buku bucks to sit there and be complacent with all of this bullshit because your bank account is filled up now. You finally have made it. Moving on up. Exactly. Okay? That's exactly how these people move and operate. Period. Once you move on up, you making more, you living the life that you always wanted to live, you able to buy the things you wanted to buy, get on the jets and the boats and take the trips and stuff that you always wanted to do, you will comply. Not everybody, but I'm saying some people, most people, honestly, will comply because that integrity just flies right on out the window when them dollar signs and that money start building up in that account. Then, God forbid, you got some, some dirt and they know about it. They're going to hold that over your head too. So, these people play dirty, nasty games and it's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's not like we thought, oh, this is some new kind of, This has been going on for years, y'all. And let me tell you, one people who know about it the most, if you from the hood and you know about hustling and things like that, loan sharks, all of those type of things, you understand how this type of stuff move and operate. This is just on a little smaller, different scale, not smaller, but a bigger, different scale. But the way they move and operate is the very same. Trust me and believe me, I know what I'm talking about when I tell you. These people move and operate the same way. So why we can't get nowhere? These are all of the people who was hoping and a wishing and a praying for a chance to get out of wherever it was they were, whether that's debt, whether that's their little small town that they come from, whether it's the abusive relationship they was in, respectfully, trigger warning, I mean to say that, to be all out there like that, but I'm just saying, when it comes to people background and things that they've been through, they're going through, and what they will do to change those circumstances, child, you'll be surprised. Because what they realize is what I have now is better than what I've had. And I need to find a way to keep it by any means necessary. Because I like this style of life better. I like this. That's just what people see it for what it is at the core. Because if we use our common sense when it comes to certain things, and if you got any street smarts, plug it in and pay attention to what's going on here. Come on now. I'm not surprised a lot of the time by the things that these people do, because this is how people move and operate. We talking about the human race, child. And there's some, people that cannot bring themselves to do these things. And there's some people that's like, shit, I'm about to go out here and get this money. Come on, we act like we don't know that. So it happens in all of these different sectors and places and spaces. Come on, it's not a surprise to me. But anyway, if y'all want to watch the rest of that, that's over on I've Had It channel, I Have News, conversation with Don Lemon. I want to go ahead and get into this final video so we can end. I'm going a little bit over time. I'm not going to play all of this. I'm going to just play some of this, y'all. But I really did think it was really hilarious. Maybe, should I play it? Should I not? Should I play it? Should I not? Should I play it? Should I not? Anyway, I wanted to play a little bit of this video. So this is apparently they had a Black History celebration with Trump, and Black MAGAs went to the White House and they realized that all the biscuits was gone. That's not my words. That's Reese Waters' words. He is a comedian, stand-up comedian, past stand-up comedian, and great content creator here on YouTube. I watch a lot of his stuff all the time. I hope y'all have checked him out by this time. He be having me rolling for real. But yeah, so yeah, the Black MAGAs, they went to this little celebration, I guess, that Trump decided to have for Black History Month, child. And they, they were shaking their signs, real fast and looking for the biscuits. But it wasn't nothing left when they got there. I don't know. Let's go ahead and listen to it. It's a little bit of comedy for the end of this live. And then, y'all, I'm going to end it after this.
You a Trump supporter? I'm a Trump supporter. Why? I'm a crazy one. I'm not Uncle Tom. I'm Uncle Tom's favorite nephew.
He said it, not me. He said it, not me. At least there's some self-awareness this year. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters, and this is Racist of the Week, where we explore the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we could build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And of course, if you have any nominees, you can drop them in the comments. You can email me at admin@reesewaters.com. Today's nominee, what's that? Yeah, I'm celebrating Black History Month. No, that's not why I didn't get a shape up. Why would you say something like that? You knew I didn't have a voice. Why would I go to the barbershop? I know I look like all the Black History Month posters. I'm going on Monday. They giving out free biscuits? Where? Oh, the White House.
All right, so today is the Black History Month reception at the White House. I'm out here and you can see all of these people standing and waiting in line to go into the White House reception for Black History Month.
Why they all look like they just answered a Craigslist ad? Why I look like how long I gotta be here? They didn't say they was gonna be using photography. Nobody said I was gonna be captured for posterity. Nobody said that.
So if anybody's telling you what's going on, brother, how you doing?
This is an all-star affair.
Another one. This is what happens.
All-star affair.
What's going on?
Oh yeah, I recognize him from last year. That's right. Yeah, you always know you got a movement when you have a huge get together, and I can recognize specific individuals.
Let me fix my bow tie. We at the White House? We back in here. We waiting on President Donald J. Trump. Yeah. I look so good in the red.
Oh yeah, y'all remember the mess that was last year? Had them dancing and everything.
Where we could like mix, and we could like, mingle amongst each other and shit. So like imagine a world if all of us was just one color. If all of us was just blue or green. Oh, if everybody was smart, you gotta have some dope people. Oh, what if everybody was rich? Who's gonna take the trash out?
And let's see exactly how much has changed in 365 days. Huh? That's a year, MAGA. That's it. See how much has changed since last year.
Shut up. Oh, the video. Yo, we got turn in the house. What's good? We ready to roll. Wait, you support Trump? You a Trump supporter? I'm a Trump supporter. Oh, why? I'm a crazy one. I'm not Uncle Tom. I'm Uncle Tom's favorite nephew.
He said it, not me. He said it, not me. At least there's some self-awareness this year. At least there's some self-awareness. They see what we see. The link up is crazy. I guess this year you guys can commiserate over new excuses that you can offer for Donald Trump literally hating you. Amid the fallout from the Obama video, Trump has also been feuding with Maryland Governor Wes Moore, the nation's only Black governor, excluding him from a bipartisan gathering of governors at the White House. Early in his second term, Trump ordered federal agencies to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and has sought to reshape how history is presented, complaining in a social media post that the Smithsonian Institution was too focused on how bad slavery was. On February 16th, a federal judge strongly rebuked the Trump administration and ordered the reinstatement of slavery exhibits at the president's house site in Philadelphia. the Trump administration is appealing the ruling. And that's just for starters. I got a whole year of content out of Trump's anti-blackness, but all he had to do was put a Pillsbury hologram in the air, and y'all came running.
So happy Black History Month, happy Black History Year, and happy Black History Century. Thank you all. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Hey, Trump better be careful.
The way he be pointing at people in the crowd like he's somebody. Like, he just be pointing at people like, if y'all can see my face, I ain't camped up right now, but if y'all can see my face, I'm telling you, I got it down pat. The way he be pointing at people, just be like, and you right there. I don't even think he's pointing to nobody. I think he's just pointing to the wall. Like, I can't be sure. But anyway, y'all, I want y'all to go over and check out Reese Waters, please. Go watch the rest of this video and a lot of the other content that he has on his channel. He is hilarious. Like I said, he's a stand-up comedian, and he's doing really great content on YouTube now, where he brings comedy and pairs it with truth and a lot of stuff that's going on in the political sector and mixes it up really well. And it is very entertaining, and he's very, professional while doing so. So y'all, please check out his channel, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and leave us with a bop. We're going to end this live. I will be back later this evening. And Mama Warrior also has something she'll be doing on her channel a little bit after that. So we got some more stuff coming for y'all. We'll be back. We'll keep y'all, bothered or entertained, whichever one you think. But thank you so much for your support. Thanks for coming by and listening to the live. I really do appreciate all of the support. I do have a few final thoughts before we end the live. Y'all know I like to start doing this now because amidst showing all of these things and talking about them, I know that they can be very triggering. But as we close out today's coverage, we're left with a landscape that feels both fractured and fiercely alive. We see the raw human heartbreak of Savannah Guthrie, reminding us that no amount of status or wealth shields us from the universal bond of family. Her $1 million search isn't just about a reward. It is a testament to the love that refuses to give up. A reminder to all of us to hold on to our loved ones a little closer and a little tighter. We see the cracks in our institution, from ICE whistleblowers standing up for the Constitution to the chilling realities shared by Representative Jayapal. It can be overwhelming to hear that the very system meant to provide order and often in need of profound repair. But remember, we only know these truths because brave individuals refuse to stay silent. Transparency is the first step towards transformation. And as the political theater of the State of the Union boycott and the headlines surrounding Don Lemon and the White House swirl around us, don't let the noise distract you from your own agency. Whether it's a dispute over a phone or a viral moment about a missing plate of biscuits, which we didn't get into that. That was further along in Reese's video. But if y'all go over there and watch it, y'all see what I'm talking about when it comes to the biscuits. The underlying theme is the same. The people are watching, the people are speaking, and the people are no longer waiting for permission to demand better. The truth can be heavy, but it also is the only firm ground we have to build on. Our power doesn't come from the politicians in the marble halls. It comes from our ability to witness the truth, to feel empathy for the lost, and to demand accountability from the powerful. So, y'all, we got to keep our eyes open. We got to keep our hearts soft. And we got to never forget that our voices are the most unconstitutional thing. And to those who wish to keep us in the dark, we ain't going. So, y'all, thank you for joining me on this live. I will see y'all on the next one. Everybody have a great rest of the day. Let's end it with a bop, y'all. We're tired of being silent, ain't we? All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all soon. Golden out. Bye.
on the bill is looking faded and frayed. The fourth estate is corporate owned and heavily paid. They're trading in the facts for a narrative fabricated. If you leak the truth, you get deleted and degraded. Look, the teleprompter's glowing with the scripted out deception. A digital infection to manipulate perception. They steer the conversation in a singular direction, while the First Amendment's dying with no hope of resurrection. It's a manufactured crisis, yeah, they're selling us the fear. Whispering the lies until it's all the people here. They call it fact-checking just to keep the vision blurry, while they bury every whistleblower in a frantic hurry. They want silence in the streets, silence in the booth, a total moratorium on anyone with truth. They're tearing out the pages, yeah, they're burning down the fence. A war against the people and against our common sense. It's the sound of the silent, it's heavy and it's cold. It's the sound of the silent, it's heavy and it's cold. Independent outlets, yeah, they're catching all the heat. The ones who skip the press release and actually hit the beat. But the algorithms weaponize, the reach is getting throttled. The spirit of the journalist is suffocated bottle. They shadow ban the brave and they platform the fake. It's a psychological game with the highest of stakes. If you don't toe the line, then they label you a threat, putting filters on your mouth like a suffocating net. They claim they're stopping harm, but they're only stopping thought. Democracy is auctioned and the airwaves have been bought. The gatekeepers are frantic, they're losing their control, so they're trying to put a padlock on the collective soul. They're cutting the wires, they're pulling the plugs, treating the seekers of truth like the thugs. From the boardrooms to the courtrooms, the pressure is rising. The death of the discourse of what they're devising. The spark in the dark is a beautiful thing. Let the bells of the rebels and dissidents ring. Of peace if the cost is your tongue. The songs of the ancestors are waiting to be sung. They want us quiet, compliant, and staring at the floor while they're locking up the exits and they're bolting every door. But the truth is a frequency they can't fully jam. I'm a man with a mind, I'm not a ghost in their program. No more silence. The loudest thing in the world is the truth they try to hide. Keep the mic on, keep the eyes open. It's the sound of love. They tell you stay entertained, stay distracted, stay divided, I said. Stay dangerous. You learn. Yo, listen. You want the tea, you want the beef, you want the who said what. But when it's time to build a life, you keep your big mouth shut. You binge watch chaos, call it keeping informed. But when it's time to grow, suddenly your bud addicted to the circus, dancing for $1 bill. While they harvesting your focus, popping every kind of pill. Algorithm got you trapped, a digital lobotomy. You'd rather watch a dummy captain claim your sovereignty. Wake up! You feel it, don't you? No, you know. That pressure in your chest, that whisper saying, you were built for more than this. High frequency, keep going viral. Did the single noise, let the real ones grow. Play 5% tall, break the spell. We ain't building our minds and below the slow. High frequency, crown don't tilt. Truth so heavy, make the weak ones will. If the numbers drop when the truth gets strong, then let them fall. We moving on. Keep it pushing. They call it just content. I call it control. If it numbs your spirit, it's a tax on your soul. You're arguing in comments about a rapper some address, while you're suffocating slowly in the world of curated stress. They fear the woman who thinks for herself, who don't chase clout and don't chase wealth. I'm a golden queen, 10 toes down in the mud. Now you chasing likes and spilling everybody's blood. Are you entertained or enslaved? Are you informed or enslaved? Is the gossip worth your soul? Is it? Unplug the wire, activate the cell. Mama warrior told you, now bring that spell. Don't pull when the tank cut the signal noise. Let the real ones drink. Walkout, stand tall, break the spell. We ain't building our minds in the digital slave. Free love, see, crown don't tilt. Don't it? Truth so heavy, make the weak ones will. Crush them. I'd rather lead a few who see than rule a million. To the shit, not a sheep. I'm a warrior. Yeah. when the truth gets loud. I don't see it, but I'd rather have the crown than a brainless crowd. Never quantity to the world, from the mud to the throne, from silence to signal. Mama warrior, golden queen, signal strong, static gone. Let me go and get close, static flatline.